How we doing today, Green Thumbs? My name is Brandon.
And I'm Jade.
And we're on the EZ Swap Homestead, and we're here to bring you through the mid-July or early July tour of the gardens. We've got a lot growing on, and we'd like to show you all. Come along! Something I've wanted to show is my antique hanging basket that I found this year. And then my mom found this antique shepherd's hook, and it makes a really cool combination. Anyways, back to the garden. Go ahead.
Welcome to the main garden. We've got it planted from end to end. Come along this way and we'll show you what we've got. Right, here we have a small asparagus patch that's not doing so hot, so we got a couple more patches planted this year. We'll give you a peek of those when we get past them. Down here on the end, we've got some peas and green beans growing. Most of these are shelling peas right here. They need to do a little more growing up, but they look like they're putting flowers on. Again, they're near the end of their life though, so we're gonna end up pulling those soon and probably put in some more peas.
Absolutely.
Got a nice sunflower here growing, a volunteer. And our bean plants are looking quite lovely. They're starting to put on flowers. A few baby beans in here.
We have eaten some already too.
It was nice to get those first beans of the season. Looking forward to many more. There's a few more peas in here. Looks like a volunteer lettuce over there as well. Right in there. Our next row is our onion row. The onions are doing real good, bulbing up. We have red, yellow, and white in here. We have a few cabbages planted in between. Doing our best to keep the cabbage moth caterpillars off of them, but it's a daily thing. This is our strawberry patch, and we have a couple of okra hiding in here too that aren't doing quite so hot. We still have a little bit of hope for them yet. They really like warm weather. In this row we have, what is this?
A cucumber.
Cucumber.
Yep.
Lovely little cucumber.
With a volunteer potato plant.
And then we've got some peppers in here. They're a lot shorter than they were last year, but they are starting to bush out a bit and putting on some flowers. Is that anything?
That is 4 o'clock actually right there. That's going to be a flower. Hopefully attract some beneficials.
Our sage just finished flowering. You can see a couple last remnants of the purple flowers on here.
You want to tell them what we just got down to just the last few days here?
Yeah, so we have some bedding from our chicken coops that we have collected after cleaning them. And we're just placing that in between the plants, not directly on them, but just so that the nutrients from their waste essentially can trickle down into the soil as the rain comes. This here is aquatic plants that we've pulled from our pond that we have on the property here. So we use that for mulch, and it'll just break down over time and add a lot of nutrients to the soil too. And we got a little
parsley.
Parsley?
Yep. And then another
and a
volunteer potato. Yep.
Apparently we forgot a few of them in the ground last year.
Happens every year.
So here we've got some beautiful tomato plants. We've got beans in the background growing up a hog panel.
Yeah.
There's some celery right here and a couple of strawberry plants.
Yeah.
Everything's looking pretty good. We got another celery there. Celery here, more beans, more strawberries. We try to get a little of the aquatic plants in every part of the garden to help enrich the soil.
Right, yeah.
Here we've got a couple more tomato plants. And on the end here, we're trying something new this year. These are our bitter melons. We're eager to see them take off and waiting patiently.
Right, take off, the key word.
So this is another big row of tomatoes that we have. Around the tomatoes, we also have planted more onions.
And sadly, we've already started seeing our blight, which is better than last year, but they are starting to take over.
When you see the leaves turn yellow and start to die off.
Right, and the splotchy.
It's a good indicator, unfortunately, of blight. We've got a really good flower set on our tomatoes.
We've actually got some tomatoes. Gotta find them real quick, but they're somewhere right in here. How am I not seeing them? Right there they are. There's some tomatoes.
Awesome.
Alright, so there's some more blight, and this is kind of where it started. I find it kind of peculiar. The blight started where the two varieties, and I don't know if that's just me thinking that's crazy or not, but basically there's one variety this way, one variety that way. I want to say this is Brandywine, and then I want to say this is my pink Oxheart Aromas or whatever. But for whatever reason, it started right where the two met. And I'm not sure if that's a thing or not.
We got a little tomato and a little 4 o'clock in the cage in the end here.
Yep, volunteer tomato. Gonna save it.
Our garlic is almost ready to pull out right here. We've cut the scapes on them this week. Put those in the freeze dryer and they turned into tasty garlic chips. Here we've got our cucumbers. Really excited for cucumbers. Pickle season is almost here.
There's a lot of flowers on these, but it's all male flowers right now. So soon come the female flowers.
Some more celery.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we have some watermelon vines growing. I think we had a couple of little baby watermelons too. There's one right in there. I guess that one right under here too. So hopefully these will turn into nice big juicy watermelons this year. Can't wait for those. We've got more peppers in this row. Again, you're going to see the chicken bedding, the used chicken bedding, and the aquatic plants. We also have on here pine needles from underneath our pine stand. We found that makes a really good mulch.
So you want to say what we're doing with this potato patch?
So this potato patch, we dig a trench when we plant the potatoes and fill it in gradually and hill the potatoes. And then we have some irrigation. We have an irrigation system running alongside the plants.
Yep.
Using this as a drip irrigation. And then we covered the hosing with the pine needles and with the aquatic plants.
Right, so this bed is pretty much just going to be fertilized with the aquatic plants. There really isn't any other fertilization on this potato pot. We'll see what that brings.
We also put some wood ash.
I don't think we put them on this one.
Okay.
It was on the other patch up there.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So we've got a little patch of garlic here. You can see it's starting to die back like the one over there. We'll pull these pretty soon too.
And to replace all the garlic is going in the brassica family. So we'll have some kohlrabi, broccoli, cauliflower, and more cabbage going in. Here's another row of potatoes.
potatoes in here, and we've mulched this one with the chicken bedding and comfrey that we've cut down just to your right.
Yep. Harvested that comfrey there.
This giant monolith is, we were hoping, going to be blackberries, but it hasn't put on very many berries. And it's getting more trouble than it's worth in here, having to work around all the prickers, so I'm not sure how long, much longer this one's gonna last. In the back there, we've got a huge patch of pumpkins that's just starting to spread its feet. This first row that you see with the red tint is our beets. We've just gone through and done the first weeding. So you can definitely see all these beets. Probably going to have to get thinned a little bit so that we can get some good size on our beets growing. Rutabaga is the next row that you're going to see. That's quite bushy in the back there. Are these parsnips?
Yep.
Parsnips in the next row. These are a lot tinier than the other ones.
Yep. They're actually
But they're starting to grow.
those little things.
Starting to grow and fill in there.
Yep.
And then we've got a few rows of carrots in here.
Yep. 3 rows of carrots.
And a volunteer potato in the middle.
Yep.
And here we've got, I believe, some cauliflower.
Yep. Those first 3 are cauliflower there.
On the left here, we've got some artichokes. Further in here, I think these are fennel.
Yep.
One here, and fennel is perennial, so these will come back next year too. One here, one there. We might have lost a couple in here.
Mm-hmm.
Then that looks like dill in the back.
Yeah, we got some dill flowering here. Almost in time with the cucumbers.
So these, we've got Brussels sprouts, and again with the cabbage moss, little green caterpillars that eat the leaves, eat holes in the leaves. We've been pretty diligent, picking at least a couple times a week, so we haven't had too much damage from them yet. But there's definitely some leaves have 6-8 caterpillars on them, and if you let those go too long, they'll just eat the whole plant, and you're just gonna lose your harvest. Definitely important to keep on top of those.
All right. Should we burn up to the hoop house garden?
Let's go.
All righty. She's like, yes, we're going in.
Here we are at the hoop house garden. We'll take the fence down and have a peek inside. Our resident rodent control is eager to get inside. There she goes.
Where is it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Where is it? Sometimes you gotta give them a little motivation.
This front row here we have garlic. This row here we planted in the fall, and these 2 rows up front we didn't plant until this spring, so you can see a little bit of difference in the girth of the stalk. These ones are going to be smaller, but we thought it'd be better to have the extra garlic than to not.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a row of tomatoes and onions through here.
These are black crim tomatoes, my ultimate favorite.
We got some basil planted on the back ends. There's one here and one over closer to Brandon over there.
Yep.
In this bed we try and let the milkweed grow to help attract the pollinators.
What do we got here? Spooky. That's what we got. So in here we got some cayenne peppers. These are just starting to take off, but they're super small. And then we got some zinnias on the end. We always like to throw in some flowers.
These are our soybeans. They're looking really good, especially compared to last year where we had them in here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see some Japanese beetle damage.
Yeah, we're under attack, you guys.
They're voracious eaters, and they just eat holes in between all of the veins.
We're on year 3 of picking every single day, and it's not, I don't even pick every single day. There they are.
This is what they look like. Typically when we go through the garden, we have a bucket of soapy water with us. When these bugs are threatened, most of the time they'll just drop.
Yep.
That's their defense mechanism. So we position the bucket right underneath the bugs and go in for the leaves, and usually they'll drop just right into the bucket.
Right. So yeah, my mom, my dad, my brother, Jade and I both, we're all of us are working on picking, and my parents pick the most. But we've spent 3 years picking, or this is our 3rd year picking every single day, and they do not seem to be going down in numbers. So I ordered up a sprayer, and we're going to be spraying some Surround, which is what was it? Some sort of clay. Start with a K. Kaolin clay or something?
Clay, that sounds
yeah.
right. Yep.
So we'll be spraying everything with kaolin clay.
So we have a row of sunflowers here.
Absolutely.
They're growing up real nice. And our milkweed here, it just smells awesome in here.
The pods are super delicious, guys. If you haven't eaten the pods, you got to get them real early, but they're super delicious.
The flowers and the early stems, when they first start to sprout, are also edible.
Mm-hmm.
I find the flowers a little too floral for my taste, but those are also edible as well. We really like the milk pods when they're small and firm.
So what do we got growing on in here?
In here, I believe we have spaghetti squash.
It is spaghetti
And it's
squash.
starting to take everything
It is.
over.
It is.
Gonna move the big leaves. As you can see, it's starting to put on some flowers. Nothing has bloomed yet, so this is all...
Not on that one, but we do have
all baby
flowers
ones.
over there.
Looks like they've been open for a couple of days over here.
Yep.
Usually they throw those male flowers before they put out female flowers, just to make sure there's pollination there for when it's fruiting time, so that they're going to be fertilized if there's availability. And some more buds on this end too. Not quite flowering.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to check out the zucchini. We had like 4 or 5 zucchini on our little plant.
I'll have to go back and show you. And in here we have 4 rows of potatoes.
Yep.
Also with our drip irrigation system that we've been doing.
And the first 3 here have got compost and wood ash. And again, I know wood ash is super controversial on potatoes because of scab. And then this one row here, we've got compost and chicken manure on. So the bedding you can see there, and then there's compost there. So we'll see after we harvest what is worth it. Volunteer sunflower in there.
Looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Looks really
Everything that
healthy.
always pops up on its own is always 10 times healthier and doing way better than anything you started. It's one thing I see constant. Then I always wonder why I started anything to begin with.
Have a garden full of volunteers one year.
Yeah, we should. See what happens. All right. Well, we'll buzz up to the last bed here.
There you can see the kids collecting the aquatic plants that we put on the garden.
Yeah.
Real simple process. We either hand pick them out or grab a pitchfork and pitchfork them out, set them on the front of the canoe or kayak as it is, and
If anyone's got a good idea on how to harvest all these lily pads, which I used to pull by hand, never put a dent in it and never got enough, but that would be enough to mulch the garden and provide a lot of nutrition. But yeah, if you got a way to harvest that, please let me know. But otherwise, we're harvesting just the surface muck, which has a lot of algae, a lot of insects, and then pond weeds. All right, back to the garden. So what's popping over here is the glass gem popcorn. This whole entire bed actually has been fertilized less, but it's been all fertilized with chicken manure and chicken bedding, but I've put a lot less on here. This stand actually looks a lot better. Way more uniform and dark, healthy leaves. Here we've got 2 of the Hoikita pumpkins. They're super sweet and absolutely amazing.
Looks like they're just starting to put on blossoms too. Not quite flowering.
And we saved the soybeans!
Hooray!
So the fence did the trick. You can see they are definitely behind the ones in the hoop house. But they are going to survive, and they actually look healthy, and I think everything's going to be fine, other than they're going to be a little delayed. Here we've got 2 hills of pumpkins. I was actually trying to get that to grow up the trellis today, so it looks a little messy, but I'm sure that will fix itself in no time. And then here, I can't remember if I got yellow or red popcorn, but I do have yellow or red popcorn in this one. This one I have put on a lot more chicken manure when I've been doing the fertilizing every roughly 3 weeks. And you can see actually if you come over here that we've got a really nice patch over there compared to the rest of it. And actually when I was talking to my dad, he had mentioned that last year before planting this, because last year was the first time we planted it, it actually looked like that. My old man at 70 years old is ripping out in complete forest just so he can get some crops in.
From this here.
Yeah. So super impressed always by him. He always blows my mind, and total respect. But he had told me that he stacked up everything right there and burnt it. And he noticed last year too that everything that was right there was growing a lot better. So more than likely that's the reason why that one spot is growing really well. Would have been a really good source of potassium. But anyways, we're well over knee high. Things are almost chest high in there, and we'll have a good harvest of popcorn. And then right at the end here is our new stand of asparagus.
We got some new rhubarb
We
plants
do have
in
some
here.
new rhubarb plants in here too, which look a lot better. And then all new asparagus. So I'm excited for that.
The asparagus beetles really hit the other planting really hard, and they don't seem to have found this one back here too much yet. So we're crossing our fingers that this is going to be a good year for establishment for these plants, and that we'll get. We can't harvest these for another 2 years after this year, but a couple of years we should have an awesome asparagus harvest.
All right, so one last little hoorah. So amidst our cherry trees, we've got some more rhubarb, but we've got just some regular orange pumpkins planted in here. They're growing well. Sadly, one of our new sweet cherry trees that we just put in this spring developed black spot right away and is dying fast. I need to get sulfur on this thing. I don't know if it will be able to survive or if we can save it. But I have some hope.
Also looks like some Japanese beetle damage up there. You can see a couple of bugs on the top.
Oh yes. So that concludes this week's tour. We greatly appreciate you coming along. Hopefully you enjoyed the tour. You got anything to say?
Keep gardening.
Absolutely. We would love to encourage you all to keep gardening and keep growing your own food and knowing where your food comes from, as it's extremely important. Until next time, peace.